For all intents and purposes, Jen here and Samsonite, and the little girl eating their peanut butter, so please excuse the background smooches that you might be hearing. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a few. So I'll ramble for a minute just to see if anybody shows up and go over why I cover this topic and why I cover it more than once as well. So I'm just going to ramble for a minute. I know the last video is more of a documentation testimonial video. I hope people understand. Those are for posterity in case something would occur to me or would happen to me. I do have children who, share my genes just as much as their fathers. So I think it's important that we know where we come from and that we're loved, because I didn't have that. And you probably are seeing that unfold in real time if you're watching my testimonial videos about how clues and hints were dropped to me, but I think I figured out why, obviously, and why they've been targeting not just me, but pretty much my whole family for a long time. My dad had issues and with like targeting and jobs and people, giving him a hard time, just that gang stalking stuff. And I didn't know at the time what was going on. I knew we were different and that we didn't always see things like other people, yada yada. And get told we're sensitive, too sensitive, overly sensitive. And I've lost a lot of my family to the big C in the last several years. Now I want to say that I'm not a doctor. The disclaimers are in the description. This is not medical advice. You can take it or leave it. I'm just going to give you the facts of what I went through. When I first started going through information and digging through people's devices, because yes, they're in my home, they're my family, they start acting weird, especially the minors, and we have a family Gmail account. Sorry, Sammy is drinking. Sam, can you drink not so loud? Sammy, I do apologize. I'm sorry. Sam! Okay, he's probably going to drink all of that because he just had peanut butter. So anyways, I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice. When I started digging into all those things, I did what anyone who does their due diligence would do. I followed the money. And estates, when somebody passes and their estate, you have an executor of the will and all that type of stuff and a beneficiary. These people, there's a paper trail, right? And everything is public. All you have to know what you're looking up. You have to know what to go look for, but it's all publicly available on the internet. Once I saw where the money was going, that some was going to Israel and that a lot of it was going to some cancer foundation. And then my dog ended up with a very big tumor on him, Axel. You've seen some of his story. It is my opinion. This is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. But after all the research I've done, all the experience I've had taking care of people in the family and in healthcare, it is my opinion that the big C is, it can be given to you. Because from my understanding, what it is it's a mutated cell. It has mutation going on. So all you really have to do is introduce 1, 2 small little mutated cells into somebody's system the right way, and you start a firestorm pretty much. It goes from one cell to the other cell to the other cell and all the surrounding cells. It goes forth and multiplies. Again, this is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. For such advice, go seek the advice of your chosen professional. I'm telling you where my research led me. Why is this important to you, or why should it be important to you? Please feel free to give the video a thumbs up if you understand the verbiage that I use. I will be getting to the main topic at hand momentarily. Hey guys, welcome. So I believe that my family was targeted because it looks like, and please don't just stop watching the video. Listen to somebody's full point, because when we make hasty judgments like that, misinformation gets spread very easily, and that's why we're having the problems that we're having today. Much like the telephone game in elementary school, by the time you got just around the room, the message was radically changed. Okay? I believe that my family and people like me and some of the real targeted individuals out there, I believe we are being stalked because we have the bloodline of Christ. Now you're going to say, wait a second. Okay, first of all, it could come from David, the Davidic bloodline, okay? The other way, because Christ was wholly human, God came down, or sent a part of him down, his only begotten son, to show us how to walk this out, and basically to show us not to fear death. I'm not one of those people a Christian who hangs my sins on Christ. I know that you have to walk this out in a certain type of way, that's not just a license to go sin. He is our example. He is our template. We're supposed to be resurrecting. We're not supposed to be dying, right? We're supposed to be doing these things. We're supposed to listen to his message and understand that death isn't a permanent state for us, okay? And I think it can even be avoided, but people aren't understanding that. And when you speak the way I speak, you're targeted for that alone because it's so radical and out of other people's framework of understanding, or what they understand to be reality. Now, as above, so below. Yes, some people say that's from the occult or whatever. There is truth there. There's truth in almost every religion. Not the whole truth, but there is truth there, okay? Most of the tenets are the same. Don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, because if you do these things, that's going to come back on you some way. So even if you don't restrain yourself for the fact of other people's well-being, for the more selfish people, do it for yourself then, because you'll be paying for those consequences. So I'm not the type of Christ follower who just hangs my sins on him like he's a coat rack and walks away. I acted like that from time to time, but I believe I was severely coerced, manipulated, and some people would call hypnotized against my will. Hypnotism, what it is really is just a series of suggestions, and if you introduce a substance into that equation and you start just talking to this person, you are introducing these suggestions. I think that's why when I was going through the steady abuse, the 3-day trial, I think the goal was to end me. And one of the things that was said to me was, you're not a good person. Look in the mirror, tell yourself you're not a good person. You're going to get cancer. This is real, right? Words have power, especially when you are under some type of manipulation. So long story short, after following all the trails, I believe that my family has been targeted for a long time. And I believe that the big C is something you can introduce into somebody's system, just like any other illness. This is why injectables are dangerous, because you don't truly know what is in there, okay? And that is transgression. That is sinning against the nature of someone's body, right? Of the natural state of their body. So it's something that should be carefully considered. But it is my opinion these things can be introduced to the system, and it is my opinion that my family has been severely targeted for a very long time, probably. Certain things were hinted at around me, probably to keep me safe, because they knew I was smart, and eventually I put it together. I put it together a little too late. Everybody tried to delay me, and they tried to end me in 2018. Did not happen. They've tried a couple of times since. They think I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. I forgive them. It's not about that. If he had a family, that does not negate the gospel or his ministry in any type of way. As above, so below. God is the Father, the source, the prime being, the one who created everything and everyone. He gave us the template for family, he, she. So it's obvious we have heavenly parentals, and there's already a family up there, and that is being reflected down here. And the war in heaven is being reflected down here. And this is why I'm going to get into the angel talk. You can think they're fake, you can think they're false, but you can't say if you watch these videos that you were not warned. There are many of us trying to speak out in a different variety of ways. I'm not creative like that. I can't write a story and then present it to you guys. Time is short for that type of thing. They are wanting their world, they're wanting to wipe out certain groups, and that is happening now. While most people are distracted, sitting back, focusing on themselves. Oh, these lockdowns really ruined my life, right? These lockdowns really ruined my job. This really ruined my situation. What do you think is going on out there while they're having everybody stay home? Why do you think everybody want everybody to stay home? In freeze tag, remember, what was safe? Home was safe. And they're telling you, stay home, stay safe. Because there's something else at work and at play here. Now, I believe these beings are real. I believe they have surrounded people like me to corrupt me. And by corrupt, I don't just mean to push me into sin, which was done. I mean corrupt the temple of God, corrupt your genes, your being, right? And it's not just me. That's why I'm telling this story, because it's not about, it has nothing to do with me. I sit in a room most of the time, or I'm in the same town all the time. I do the, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not visible. I'm not important in that way. This is to help whoever comes along and stumbles upon these videos. Gee, guys, thanks for the thumbs up. All right, without further ado, let's get into, first I'm going to show you, for anyone who wasn't on the main channel, I want to show you what this is. The video that I uploaded last night, I talk about this, about how I found a book, an older book, in the consignment shop, and they're both written by the same authors, and they're hundreds of years apart. Okay, so I'm gonna should I go to? No, I don't want to go to. Okay, so what is Fibonacci first? He's famous for the Fibonacci sequence, a number sequence where each number is the sum of the preceding two, right? So you'd have like 1, 1, then 2, because it's 1 and 1 together. And the Fibonacci is a shell, right? It's in the ear. It's in the human embryo. It is in shells. I can show. Oh, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Let's do that. Now, this is the series we're going to be looking at. See the shell? That's what a Fibonacci sequence should look like. And you have 1 plus 1 is 2. So then you do 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. It's showing you how you get these numbers, okay? I'm very interested. Actually, you see how the one number, 3 before the last, is 144? 144,000, okay? All of this, everything is connected, and I don't know. I'm trying really hard to showcase that so that people can say, wow, there is an intelligence at work here around us that loves us. I don't remember building Earth. Did you build the Earth? Okay, they want everybody to say they're God at this point. Why are they pushing that? Why do they want people to say those words? I'm going to get into that in a short video that I'm going to upload later about Elion and Elon Musk, and give you my opinion on that. Pretty, it's going to be brief. Think, all of these things are connected. Every bit of it is connected, okay? So what I found very intriguing about this series is that first it was published 2017, 2018, the book started coming out, okay? Now, it gives a name here, Linda Wallace, right? But if you look at it down here, it says ELBE, all right? Now, if we go to her, she is actually located in Columbus, in Ohio. And if you look at like cryptid stories and stuff, Ohio is ripe with all of this stuff. Like I said in yesterday's video, I don't think it was satanic panic. I don't panic. Like, I just don't. Things don't get to me anymore. I'm just whatever. And I'm a mother, so if something happens, I have to be quick on my feet, and I've worked in healthcare, so very little makes me freak out, I guess, or panic at least. And I want you to be that way too, right? You should be that way too. Fear is their main tool that they use to get you into the line they want you in, or the box they want you in, or the group they want you in, into the behavior type that they want you in, right? Okay, so she's actually located in Columbus. These books started being produced in 2017. Can I not show you the cover there? Hang on. Okay, well, anyways, that was weird enough. So then I wanted to read the books, right? Because what I did, I searched, back when I did this about 1.5 years ago, but it was on the other channel. I searched out, what was it? Nephilim repellent or deterrent. You know how Superman has kryptonite, he can't go near it? Every being has something like that. I have things that I'm quote unquote allergic to, right? That I just don't mix well with. One of those things is cats, ironically enough. So it's not too far out of the realm to consider that these beings, if they are real, would have something or some things that inhibit them, that deter them, that repel them from your doorstep, right? Now, teachers now will tell you, well, these are superstitions and those are idols if you have certain things around your house, like quote unquote iron. I have an iron cross that I keep pretty much by my bed. made with 2 nails. I forget what it's called. I forget what they say that's called. But they tell you that this is superstition, that we're not supposed to be that way anymore. They're taking away our knowledge and the things that are found in nature to protect us, or to amplify abilities, or to keep us healthy, right? That, you know, God gives us everything we need. It's all here. But we can't even see the horizon beyond all the little boxes that we've built. How many people have actually gone out into the desert or out into a meadow where there's no buildings, right? And just stargazed. No light pollution, nothing. We're not living right. This is why so many people are so unhappy and so depressed. This is my opinion, but I also live it. So I think it's factually based. So I was looking for deterrence for these things, and I found Google Reads came up, and it said that lavender and iron and vinegar, they don't like, right? They can't be around these things. Now, when I'm searching for that exact line in the book and I know what it says, I can't seem to find it, but I thought it would be really cool to show you guys what I did find. Let me get out. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this starts, I think this is the first book. You see how they're all lined up down here? So I have all the tabs open, and we're just going to do a little digging and see if there's anything that stands out and what you can do. And again, I like to show people how to do this because not everybody knows how to even use a search properly. And I'm not some great tech wizard or anything like that, but these little things for like older women, for people who are now unemployed, for people who just didn't get that into computers, but maybe now you see there's things that you need to research or know. There's a way to streamline that and make the process a lot easier and cut out some steps. Excuse me, I was getting dry. Okay, so I believe this is the first one. Now, the funny thing about this book is they're written in Fibonacci sequence. So you will have, each chapter is like that. It'll go 1, then 3 pages to that chapter, then 5. Each book is like that, okay? So it's kind of strange to read. And when you go to find out which one was written first, they're all written like in between 2017 and 2018, or released anyways. So it's hard to put them in the proper order, but they tell you to go a certain way. So that's the way I'm taking. You don't have to go this route if you don't want to. Is anyone even here still? Awesome. Thanks, guys. The thumbs up are appreciated. Now, for anyone who doesn't understand what I'm doing here, I am not a YouTube celebrity. I don't have a studio. I'm some woman in my bedroom with my dogs. I do this as my effort to try and help bring people to awareness about the reality that we live in, the environment that we live in, and maybe showcase or shine some light on or point a finger at and say, hey, this is spiritual. Something is working in the spirit here. Because by the time you see something physical, whatever it is, spiritual is always taking place. That's why Christ said, even if you think of another woman in that way, you've already committed adultery in your mind. And it's not too far then from doing it in the physical, right? So words have power. Knowledge has power. They've made everyone, especially church-going Christians, believe that these are bad things, that we should not know anything. These are our enemies teaching us. These are wolves in sheep's clothing. And when I say wolves, I mean literal wolves. Sheep's clothing is flesh. It's your skin. These are energies, lower level sentient energies that have taken hold of many people because it's easy now. Because the second you open yourself up to it, these things can attach to you once they have legal right. And sin of a certain kind gives them legal right. I can't see what you said there, so hang on a second. Oh, can you bump it? Can you type it again? I'm sorry. When I have the... Oh, there it is. And I can't read it anyway because I think it's... Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. I would appreciate the thumbs up just so you know, just so I know if I'm relaying this information in a more understandable or more accessible way to you guys. And if you're interested in these topics. Now, I do it like this so you can see the whole process so anyone can go and check my work, basically, okay? I try to be very transparent, even if I had higher tech equipment. I don't know that I would especially use it because I want you guys to do this with me. This is a group effort, right? We need to understand that we have power here, that mankind was given the earth, that it is Eden. And the reason they want you to think that this thing is Mandela effect, that you're in a different universe, is because they want you to give up your first estate like they give up theirs. They want us to be as guilty as them. They're already doomed, basically. They've already been judged. Now, I personally think the gospel says all who call upon the Lord shall be saved. So I think that they can be possibly saved, the ones with the Nephilim bloodline, the hybrid bloodline. But they have to want to, right? There are rumors that St. Christopher was a bigger person, aka he was a giant. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't want to offend anybody, but that's the word, right? And if you do a search on YouTube right now or Google, you'll see that that word giant is being used in many headlines. We will do that for sacrifice and that as well. We'll do a search together so you guys can see that. So this is my proof. These are my proofs, and you can go check my work, and you can go do it yourself. So if we look up Nephilim, now, it doesn't even give you the page. When I try to click on it, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't. They've made it very hard to access this information. When I tried to order the one book, because there's angel tales, night tales, dust tales, what are the other ones? There's like 5 of them, right? Oh, Mater tales, Mater, which is mother, okay? Pater is father. Pater Noster, like our father. So Mater is mother. So when you click on it, it won't take you to the page that's on. Well, when I tried to order the one where I found that information about the valerian and the iron and the lavender and the vinegar, Amazon put up a red message and it said this book cannot be delivered to this address. So I had to order it from somebody else. I'm very suspect about the things I order. There are certain places where I won't get electronics because I know that they are tampering with my mail, which I do not consent to. That's illegal. You're not supposed to be doing that. But again, they want us as guilty as them. They gave up their first estate. They want us to give up the earth. They want it. All of it. Okay? The thing is it's not going to work unless we're here. It'll shut down pretty much if mankind isn't here because we're the ones that it was created for. Hence the reason they're piggybacking on people. This is why clones are unnecessary. And I don't want to get into the whole clone debate and what I think about it right now in this video. And you're free to believe what you want, right? That's the great thing about free will. My goal is to just show you there is a spiritual realm. We do have helpers. We do have enemies. And anyone that tells you different is gaslighting you. Flat out. At this point, if you can't go to these comment sections where I've shown you how much they jump on people, especially the TIs, oh, you're crazy, you're schizophrenic. But I thought we're not supposed to be giving medical advice to each other online, especially if we're not quote-unquote experts. It's all hypocritical. This whole anti-human agenda is hypocritical. Do what I say, not what I do. They're the ones persecuting us, and they're the ones doing all the harm. They're accusing us of things that they're doing, and that's going to get worse. I've told you guys this. This is why the pedo stuff is very big right now. And I have real problems with the police allowing vigilantes to just go and capture these people. Their evidence is all electronic. You can download anything on somebody's phone and get them in trouble that way. How do you actually know it's that person using the device at that moment? You don't. So this whole rigmarole today, everything that's going on is lawless. It's a time of lawlessness. And if you can't see that, that's what I'm trying to help you see. So Nephilim. So if these are out of order or something, we're just looking for information. The fallen angels who went to war against God with the objective of taking from God more power than God is. You can't get more of all than all is. Put another way, God is a circle whose center is everywhere. Nephilim is that they bore easily. Okay, so the problem with Nephilim is that they bore easily. This is true. I know this to be true. They take no joy from silence and stillness. Again, true. They are picky, pestilent, persistent Nephilim. That's what we're here for, matey. It's why we are alive now. It's why we care what the Nephilim do unto others. And I do believe we have these helpers. This is why people are putting this information out, but they're calling it fiction. They had to do the same thing with the Bible. They had to pass it around. They had to hide it in caves, put it on papyrus, roll it up. for it to be found, for it to not be buried in false information. And that is how they got past the censors in the Roman times. They wrote things. There are a lot of hidden keys and codes in scripture that tell you the process to follow for transmutation and proper resurrection, not their BS reincarnation system. They're doing that because they don't have any other options. But if they get mankind to do it, I'm afraid that's something that can't be taken back. So repentance isn't always, I mean, in spirit it is. It's always possible, I believe. But if God shuts you down and gives you that reprobate mind, because he already knows what you're going to do, he'll use you then to hone people like me, or to refine people like me, right? So if you do have enemies out there, remember you have help too, all right? And information, knowledge is power because it's neutral. You decide how to use it. Your intent is what makes it evil or good. Anything done without God's will, without his, authority, is going to return void. And that's why these beings, they are so arrogant at this time. They think they are so smart. And you can tell who they are by the way they speak, even in text. I can anyway. They're all over now. Nephilim, crazier than they already are. Mater, mother, wholly gone and surrendered to Nephilim energy. Now, I'm not trying to spoil the book for you. We're looking for clues. So that's, about the book. Nephilim, for God's sakes, they try to run the same con on God before the rebellion against heaven. The divine one can't be surprised. Even as angels, the fallen angels lack the manners to not pick a fight just to argue. This is how insane they are at this point. They think they can beat the Most High. He made you. Like I don't understand. What can't you? Why are they? I don't know. They're blinded. I don't know. And they think they're going to win. Like, they actually think that. A lot of people left. That's fine. Nephilim, greedy, feeding on the life. And it's probably them keeping their tabs on me because that's what they do. Nephilim, greedy, feeding on the life energy. Now, what does that sound like, guys? Sounds like Loosh, right? Feeding on life energy, soul energy, Loosh. So all these people, when they say reptilians, do these beings have reptilian minds? Probably. Probably. And again, people are taking these things to be literal when they're not always literal, right? They're spiritual. So they're greedy. They feed on the life energy of their living victims while they assume the mantle of victor, forever punishing the vanquished victim, and it's never enough for them. It isn't. It's not enough. I've had heinous things done to me, and that's why I started believing these things and researching them more, because I'm like, man, this is all anti-human. It's all anti-mankind. This is not these things that are the things that have been done to me, and is that evil on his own. Giving people ideas by talking about certain things, and that's why certain topics I avoid. So this, an Elm Street in a private. So that's more of the book. Nephilim, name that sounds as harsh as heartless, And it tells you about how they feed on people. And that's talking about, mythology. Now, again, remember, Greek mythology, all these beings, it is very likely that they were fallen angels, or at least the gods, rulers, pharaohs, Caesars. They were Nephilim. I call them Nephilim brats because they act like they're spoiled brats. They can't take no for an answer. They say that they respect consent, but they don't always, and that's why I speak things aloud, because words have power. This is why mental prayer, like they're trying to stop your voice completely. And it amazes me that people still can't see this anti-human agenda that's playing out. Nephilim energy, at least, God doesn't waste. Now, this is interesting. God doesn't waste soul substance, and I agree. There's no waste here. Not like the way, not if we're living right? We're not going to run out of resources. We are loved. But people are believing what's on a little box in their homes. They're believing this TV. I don't even know if half the people we see on there are even real people. Or maybe it's from like the way far past. And I have a very sneaky suspicion that we have been monitored fully for a very long time. And I started getting that feeling when I watched Noah's Ark, and not the modern day one, the original one. There's no way that that's fake, what they're showing. And yeah, I think sometimes movies are put out and we're told they're movies, but it's somebody's story. And that's why it looks so real, because it is real. I know that sounds crazy, but we are in times that are not normal. Everything is the opposite. So when they tell you stuff on the news is true, it's fake. When they tell you these movies are fake, they're real. Snuff films are a thing. They've been around for a very long time. And now I think they're becoming more prevalent and mainstream, if you get my drift. I cannot come out and say certain things. So I try to get you there. Because if you come out and say certain things, then my ministry is ended and I have no way to talk to anybody at all. And even if you think this is only getting out to a few people, I pray over everything I do. So I know somebody is going to be helped by this information. So God doesn't waste soul substance, though. So once the feeder bleeder energy has been purged, pure and true from the physical essence, the spirit presence can return again to source. Okay, now again, this is a little new agey, but we're here trying to pick out the bits of truth. Nephilim can tell him what they want or not. They demand what they wanted, plus ordered how and when they wanted it packaged and delivered. They expected the divine one to obey. From God's perspective, deserved a day of rest in the garden. So, again, they're showing you why they are at war, basically, with the Creator, the Prime Being, the Father, Mother, whatever you call it. Honestly, I don't get tripped up on that. There's a reason they're doing and showing the agendas they're showing. And they want everybody right now in a state of sin. If you're gossiping, you're sinning. You're hating against your neighbor. If you're hating your neighbor, you're sinning, right? If you're in fear, that is also a transgression. We're not supposed to be in that state, okay? These things create a hole in your spiritual armor, and they allow these beings then through and closer to you, to attach to you, to torment you. This is legit. And it presents itself physically as mental illness. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. But I am highly researched. And I did work in the medical field. And I did take some psychology courses in college. Not that that matters, okay? I only give you my background to maybe build trust a little bit, because so many people, the people that don't show their faces like at all, and people still believe what they put out. There's a reason they're not showing their face, because they know what they're doing is shady, right? Like that occult science 101. People, I don't know if people are still sending me his videos or not, but I've asked you to just stop. Stop it. Certain things we're not supposed to be speaking of, because that makes it a bigger problem, okay? I'm trying to do this, expose these beings, so you know you have enemies out there. But you're not powerless. We are not powerless. Nephilim, who walk this earth like Norse gods, that is key. They are very big into the Norse mythology. And another sect is very big into the Egyptian Babylonian religion. And I don't care if you call it the religion of Maat, the goddess down there. It's all the same thing. The house of Set, they're all Babylonian, okay? So you'll find different sects of these beings, just like you find humans with different cultures, okay? So the Norse gods, or the Norse Vikings, why they were all big, right? Big, mighty men who raped and pillaged, and they were very physical, right? And they caused a ruckus everywhere they went. That's the Nephilim. Nephilim brats. Spoiled brats. Wanting to take what's not theirs. It's the same every time they show up. Every time they show up, you see polygamy on the rise, or wife swapping, right? What do they call it? Swinging. Because that's a cool name, right? And that's very prevalent in the town I'm in. Doesn't look like it on the surface. It's a beautiful place. But it's here, big time. This another reason they hate me. Whatever, I don't care. If we don't stop behaving in these ways, we are going to take part in the wrath that is coming to these beings. Because it rains on the just and the unjust. I'm still in the same household with these people that I suspect are not any longer my family. And they've told me that, like when all this started. You're not family. You're not blood. You're not family. I sure ain't. Not theirs anyway, I guess. Nephilim who walk this earth like Norse gods who measure their ranking by the number of kills and the plunder taken from their victims as callously as though might really does make right. We came to make things right. We need to be strong. We need to be encouraged. We need to stand firm in the truth and in our sovereignty. Do not give away your sovereignty by doing things like voting. You are then giving your sovereignty away. At that point in time, like say you voted for the president now, Biden. He is your authority. He is your head. He has an authority over you like a husband. Anything he does then, you are agreeing to. Anything. While he's in term, while he's in office. This is why I don't vote. I'm going to have to stand before God one day. And I've done enough damage my own self. I don't want to be accountable for somebody else's transgressions too. But do you see spirit, even if you're not a Christian, do you see spiritually how it's not a good idea to come into agreement with someone that you really don't know? You don't even know if it's a real entity. It might just be a computerized image. It might be one of the Nephilim brats. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're all over politics. They like to be stars. They are rock stars, big time into being rock stars. Most of them play the guitar. You will see a lot of them on YouTube. And they will play the guitar. Not on YouTube, but I'm saying this is a thing. This is a commonality. And again, I'm not dissing everyone that plays guitar. I'm not dissing everyone that has a cat. I'm not dissing everyone that has teeth problems. But if you add all those things up, we are building a physical profile, a physical image like a profiler would. So you can, maybe if you can't see spiritually yet, maybe you can start to see these things follow these beings. Okay? Certain numbers follow them. They can't detach from them. It's how they're made, I guess. I don't know. Nephilim dictators who control the countries of our world. Yes, they do. And devolve them into anarchy. Dictators like anarchy. Actually, it gives them an excuse, a probable cause for their malicious brutality. And so, the death camps of Buchenwald. Read that again. Nephilim dictators who control the countries of our world and devolve them into anarchy. If you don't know what Nephilim is, it's a hybrid being between a human, mankind, and a fallen angel. Okay? They gave up their first estate. All right? Nephilim sinners justify their voracious, insatiable greed. That is who made her. Mother is now, Maddie. Not even the someone nice made her she was even after Dad was killed. You will be collateral damage to her, nothing more. This is what they're doing to people. They're getting regular men and women to come into agreement with them and help them to stalk and track people like me. And after people like me are gone, it'll be independent thinkers. It won't matter. Your religion won't matter. And it won't stop. Don't you see? They're using a lot of men and women. And once they have gotten rid of everyone under them, then they will get rid of the men and women that they have used to do their bidding. No one is safe unless you are under the Most High's habitation. And I don't know why, like, they show one down here like this in white. Now, this is Nephilim illusion that has mesmerized all of us, including you, Maddie. You think small of yourself, but you don't have to be perfect to be God's perfect instrument. You only need the right motives, aka intention, and the right reasons. That's key, guys. These beings are running us. I showed you the picture that they showed when Biden and his wife visited, was it Jimmy Carter and his wife before? And then he ended up dying, right? He just died recently. But the picture they showed, Biden and his wife were huge. Like, they were giants. They had to kneel beside the chairs of the ex-president and former president and his wife. They were all smiling. They're showing us, guys, so that we don't have an excuse then. We can't say, oh, we didn't know. We didn't know we were in agreement with devils. Well, now you do know. Don't vote for these things, man. You're giving them power and authority over you. And this is why anything that is pushed in this world, anything that trends, anything they want you to do should be suspect to you. Vote. It's your right. You have to vote. Well, what do you mean you're not going to vote? It's your obligation. Women fought so you can have the right to vote. We don't know that. They made it look like that. Reverse psychology 101, guys. Tell somebody they can't have something or can't do something, you'll make them want it even more. That's what they're doing. That's what they've always done. It's the same song over and over and over again. And I'm tired. Not that I'm some great, nothing like that. I don't know how else to present this information to make it more obvious to people. Not everybody hears of mankind. These people with these malicious hearts, they're not men and women. I'm sitting here wondering how I can be a part of all this, but that's just it. They're not like us. They don't have the heart we have. For whatever reason, angels, they don't have like emotions like we do, but emotion is like a big part of your human soul. Now, we're supposed to be in control of them, yes, but anyway, let's look up a couple more things real quick. We'll look up fallen angel. Now we got 5 results, see? Fallen angels who went to war against God with the objective of taking from God more power than God is. You can't get more of all than all is. Okay? Put another way, God is a circle. Fallen angels, the Nephilim, for God's sake, they tried to run the same con on God, so that's pretty much the same. Fallen angels, Nephilim, greedy, feeding on the life energy of their living victims. And this is why you're seeing so many people, celebrities and stuff, like Jessica Simpson, what I was showing you, how dire and skinny she looks. Go look at Meghan Markle. Something's going on with these people. Like, something is not right. Okay? Now, I fast, and, they will say all of these things can be either a sign of the Holy Spirit or a sign of the wicked one. It depends what your intention is and why you're doing it. And if you feel forced to do it, then it's of the enemy. God doesn't force us to do anything. All right? Okay, so fallen angels has now been transmuted and now vibrates with power, clarity, confidence, focus, peace, and the easy grace of a Shaolin master facing a skillful rival. See, her writing is very rich, so it can be hard to get into sometimes. Fallen angels from eons ago, it is time for a wise consciousness of cooperation and collaboration. And the sapphire is the last stone you touched. Short memory for a semi-divine being. They're talking about Michael there, the Archangel Michael. I say Michael because it's Micah and then the L at the end, Michael. Most of the angels, angel, they have that EL, right? Elion is God, Elohim is of God, and then like the L would indicate like it's of God, it's godly, it's made by God, from God, okay? Now we're going to look up, I'm going to look up iron just to see if I can find anything. Okay, now I can't click on this, but I bet this is where the lavender thing is too. But when I punch in lavender, it doesn't bring it up for me. And I told you I can't even grow it. I've tried so many times to grow lavender. I can grow pretty much anything here, but I cannot grow the lavender. Okay, so iron with a concrete floor and mesh windows. They could see him huddled in a half human, half bat. Why did they call, when Stevie first started and we had that ship come into New York Harbor and the other one in LA, and all it had was a red cross on it. And they told you that that was troops, right? That they were doing things, helping people. But I did a video a long time ago, and I showed you the clip where you could read the soldier's badge, and it said Operation Gotham. I don't watch that show. So anyone that watches it, maybe you can give us some clues as to why they named it that. But then when everything started, it started with what? It started with a bat. And then they started talking about rats and cats. Ha ha ha. They always rhyme too. These old witches, like the 3 hags and all that. They always do this rhyming thing. You see it a lot on that movie Hocus Pocus, which I only watched once years ago. I didn't like it to begin with, but I don't watch that stuff. I do watch horror movies still. Again, some things don't change. But I'm not really scared of anything. So honestly, I look and I do these deep dives to find clues that will help us in our real life situations. So you have him half human, half bat. Oh, and that Friends guy that just died, Matt. No, what's his name? He said, I am Matt Man. Do you hear me? Matt Man. That was his last tweet. And his personal assistant was the only one there. And she took a picture of herself and posted it with her shirt that had the picture of him on it. And she was doing that peace sign. And I told you the Red Cross is not just Red Cross, okay? When you see something with a red cross on it, that's of the UK military. Think. Why do they have everybody so isolated right now? What don't they want us to see out there? Why all the masks to hide people's identity? Think. Okay? those ships coming in, that wasn't to help us. Okay? I'm trying to like give you information without giving it all because I don't want, certain things aren't supposed to happen yet. So iron fist and a leather glove, Our mission is to look with clear eyes into the dark. I'm actually looking for iron itself. Iron fertile soil needs to produce healthy crops. He showed me how to crystallize plant matter into an earthy green powder and add nitrogen and phosphorus to the soil. Iron fisted brutality, Iron hut fierce. Nope. Okay, so then let's look up cage, because the cage was made of iron that they trapped him in. And he agrees to it. This one Nephilim, I don't want to give the whole story away, but he ends up, and I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I think I need to. He agrees, he's on the good side, right? This one Nephilim. And he said, I guess something happens or comes upon them like a vampire type attack, and he can't stop himself. So he told the other people around him, this is how you stop me. Just leave me in this cage and put a cloth over it, okay? And I'll be basically trapped and I'll be powerless. So he told them how to do this. So right here, cage, locket, and tight shroud in the sun gold cover for safe sleeping, keeping of the dire, dangerous, mostly dead things inside. You have my promise, okay? And it tells you where he's telling them to cover the cage and this, that, and the other. All right, and what else should we look up in this one? I want to look it up just to show you that I can't seem to find it anywhere now. And these are the books where I found that they didn't like lavender, but I can't find it anywhere in these books now. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. Let's look up Nephilim. And if it's a repeat, like I'm not going to read it or go through it, obviously. Okay, they're telling you about them there. Nephilim energies walk the earth in human form. They have no aura. God, the Nephilim, why is that? You tell me. I don't know. This is another person talking with God, okay? So it's a conversation between God and this character. That's why I asked you. You do know, but not in the conscious mind of you that looks not beyond the physical. So basically, God is telling this person, you already know the answer to these questions. You just got to look inside yourself, basically, okay? Okay, again, that's a conversation between God and this person. Nephilim, and now this is key. I've told you guys this. They don't have any power unless you give it to them. Through voting, through signing your name to things, through shaking hands and making agreements and oaths, you are bound to them. This is why Freemasonry is dangerous. One of the reasons. I don't believe they're all evil either, and I have good reason to believe that. They're mixed up in every group now. We're all side by side, the weed and the tares, right? We're all side by side. Doesn't matter what group it is. But even wedding vows. I did fine. I was doing as I was supposed to do. And then I took those vows, and once I hit some stress and my parents died, I turned into the worst version of myself. And yes, I do believe I had been corrupted by demonic beings. This is what they do. They try to attach to you. And that is still happening. That is why I don't do certain things, and God has led me away from certain things. I told you, it's not a safe time for anybody to be eating meat, in my opinion. Anybody. There's something wrong with it. There's something going on there. Okay? I'm not judging you. I'm trying to help you. Nephilim have no power to hurt or to harm you. I did not grant them that, though they demanded it. They cannot hurt. Nephilim you want to take out because you see their greed and judge it evil. Remember the run on the banks. Okay, now, again, we have to consider the source of where this information is coming from. Is this true or not? It's half true. They cannot hurt you. They cannot harm you unless you give them legal entry. And this is why I say to keep your spiritual armor strong. The more that you slack off, the more negative things you do, the more wicked intentional things that you do, the more authority these beings have to come closer to you. And God will allow that, okay? Because you are giving them consent. Whether it's passive, whether it's knowing, you're giving them the consent to do this. Nephilim among us who greedy feed off innocence through fraud, lies, exorbitant interest rates. We have a fair and equal justice system to take care of that for us. The Nephilim overlords assure us while patting us down and picking our pockets. They are not on our side. They want you to vote because it gives them power over you. I don't participate in that system. I'm not going to participate in that system. They can't force me to do so, and I won't do so. You can't force me to have a weapon in my home. I refuse to be around firearms. I do not consent to it. I will not live in the same house where they are because I feel like it invites the spirit of violence into your home. Do you see what I mean now by giving legal rights and giving authority? And if you understand, please do give the video a thumbs up. It lets me know that I'm getting through or that things are kind of starting to make sense for people. This is a dangerous time we're in. And people are still living their lives and going to work and paying their bills because they want all these fancy toys that come from them in the first place. It all comes from them. So should we be using it all? And I know we're addicted to it at this point, and don't say you're not, because we all are. We're addicted to the electricity, to the internet, to the things it brings us, to the little toys. Could we go out if God put us in the desert for 40 years, could we go out there and handle it? No, not a one of us, not me, not you, no. We need to be strong. We need to be stronger. We need to gird up. We need to be praying on the same things, because when two or more agree to pray on something, you're guaranteed it will come to pass. I'm constantly praying for our safety, that to keep them at bay, to keep them held back, far away, whatever. I'm constantly rebuking them and saying I do not consent to them being here and doing what they're doing. Christ told us, don't you know you are God? You shall one day judge the angels. Little g gods, like not the God, right? Nephilim, they have power over you. They can and will control your minds because you have personally surrendered your power to them through your unrecognized and unresolved personal petty habits of fear, inadequacy, anger, and hatred. That's another thing. If you are dwelling in a state of bitterness, if you are dwelling in a state of anger or hatred, this is why that's their second go-to. The first thing they want you to do is something wicked with your body. So they will try to coerce you into fornicating. And I'm not going to say who, because some of them are actually husbands. We are in it now. We are in some type of second incarnation. I don't know, but it's happening. I don't care if you call me crazy. It doesn't matter to me. It's all them. Anyway, they're the gaslighters. They're the one calling people crazy. They're the ones covering up for the spiritual, saying it's mental illness. They did all of this. They created all of this, so that no one would believe when their time came. People would look at me and point at me and call me crazy. But it's really not that difficult. It's not that hard to see. I don't know why people don't, and they don't believe, right? Well, it's in the Bible. Why do I have to believe it? Dude, it's not just in the Bible. It's all over Norse mythology, Greek mythology, the pantheons. It's in every culture because they are in every culture. So they have power over you when you get into these states, these lower vibrational, lower frequency, low energy states. At that point, they can't attach to you. This is why they want you fornicating. I would not do that right now at this time period at all with anybody. I don't care who it is. I don't think we're supposed to be doing it in that way. But we're especially not supposed to be mixing up like that. And even in the John Titor, the fictional story from Reddit or 4chan that they were talking about years ago about the time traveler, even that little bit of truth was in there. Don't go around just kissing anybody, because you don't know who they are at this point. Nephilim, self into inert mineral matter. You have my word. Okay, now what they're talking about there is basically the black goo that is these beings' hive mind consciousness that I guess separates into different beings. I'm not quite sure how it works, but we've been given enough clues about that too, being on the sarcophaguses in Egypt. Yeah, his name was John Titor. It's a story. It's an alleged story, like a creepypasta. But if you look it up on Reddit, John Titor, he gives all kind of, I call them clues. I call them breadcrumbs, little facts that you find in alleged fictional stories. That's why I do this. That's why I dig into movies, songs, pop culture, so you guys can see there is truth in here. I had to turn that off so I could read your comment. I apologize. I'm not saying whether he actually time traveled or not. You know, they pass it off as a fictional story, but there are bits of truth and facts in his story. And so maybe we should things are not as they seem. Remember, when people come out and start gaslighting and pointing a finger in the comment section or in the real world saying this person's crazy or schizophrenic, it's because they don't want you listening to them. They do it on purpose. Dave Chappelle told us this years ago. I can't believe people are still believing this stuff. That person's crazy. They're schizophrenic. Go take your meds. But wait, we're not supposed to be giving medical advice online, are we? Huh. Funny how it's okay for them to do. This is why I call them the Nephi brats, man. They're spoiled brats. They literally are big ogres. They want to rape, pillage, and steal, and destroy, and kill. Like, that is them. They are the children of wrath. They were brought into this world through wrath, and they will leave this world through wrath. Well, the physical anyway. They'll still be here. And I guess you can't totally get rid of an eternal being. So what they're talking about in this book is refining it down to the lowest possible state that you can. That's why I think it started out in this generation as this black goo stuff. Or at least that's the physical, symbolic representation of these lower level energy frequency beings. You don't have to call them demons. You don't have to call them Nephilim. But I'm trying to tell you, not everybody here is fully human. And I don't even like that word anymore. Not everybody here is of mankind. And in fact, I would say the mankind number is severely lower at this point. Okay, Nephilim in robes with tousled hair, dirty habits. Dirty habits meaning the habits, their addictions, but dirty habits as in their robes, their clothes. They don't have a white garment, right? They're not going to be given the white raiment. Double entendre intended. Anyone that is using double entendres around you, that's how they're trying to get you to come into agreement with your own death or a curse they're trying to put on you. I know this because they try to do it to me all the flipping time, man. And then they do these hand signals like above my head and behind my back. Dude, they're like children. But they're a giant problem because they're like bad children and they're big and they're strong and they're Vikings, right? The Vikings, Norse Vikings, what? They were giants. They were bigger. The Native American Indians here, what did they do? They chased the red-haired giants into the caves. Why do you think red-headed people are so prevalent right now? Just look at YouTube, even in Christian places. But the ones that say they're Christian, they're sitting there gossiping, trying to get you instigated. They want us fighting each other because they don't have any authority to hurt us. So they want us hurting each other. Is it starting to make sense now in the bigger picture of things? Do not participate. The world system is theirs. They run it. They own it. Money, the jobs, the internet. It's all theirs. All of it. Nephilim, the unredeemed fallen angels. Never before has man devised so many vile new ways to eliminate the opposition that it created. Witness the whole-scale carnage of Hitler's war of attrition. Witness the number of stunningly vile. So they're going into, like, again, how they pressure mankind into pretty much offing itself. Nephilim without their own exercise of free will. So this part confuses me. Some people say Nephilim have free will. Some people say they don't. They are of the hive mind. So it is my opinion they are legion, right? Like the Holy Spirit, but not a counterfeit version. What if... Hold on. Nephilim have their own free will. Okay, so they don't have their own free will. This is why they try to get you to do certain things for them, right? Or against each other, to hurt each other. But I'm not sure about this. Do they have free will or don't they? The fallen angels chose to fall. They chose to disobey God. So obviously that was an act of will. So why wouldn't the Nephilim have free will? Maybe did God take it away from them? Or because they're all one and basically they're all legion, is that why? Do they have to do whatever Like the head of the, what is that three-headed dragon? The, what is it? I can't remember. Anyways, you cut the head off the snake, the whole snake dies, right? That's how vampires are too. All the vampire books, if you get rid of the head vampire, they'll all die, right? So, Hydra, thank you. I apologize. I'm like, what is that word? Thank you so much. Awesome. I love when people help like that and converse in the comment section. It makes me happy. Okay, so they're telling us, about their attributes, which are pretty nasty and negative, okay? Your faint faith, okay? So if your faith is waning, it's a signal, a symptom of persistent, pernicious Nephilim assault on your self-confidence and self-awareness. So these quote-unquote voices that people are hearing, and they're blaming it on V2K. They want you to think it's all high-tech. That's what they want you to think. All you have to do, though, is give them legal entrance, and it's on. You can then hear them in your mind. Certain activities that you do, certain transgressions, certain mistakes that we make, certain habits that we have, give them legal authority then to read our thoughts. That's why I don't drink coffee. I think it's weird that it was an offering and it was always drank before meditation. It's like it opens your mind or something. And I don't want, my prayers are for God. And if I say them out loud even, it's nobody else's job to interfere with any of that. Right? You need to learn the natural law of your own sovereignty. You don't have to keep giving away your power. But by doing things like participating in their system, by voting for them, you're giving away your will. Do you see what I mean? They want to make you like them. They want to make us just as guilty as them. Remember, the scripture says to be found as blameless and innocent as a dove, but as wise as a serpent. We are supposed to have knowledge, but we're supposed to use it discreetly and properly, right? Not in a way that goes against the natural order of things. That's all transgression or sin means, to go against the nature of someone, something, some being. Because when you do that, bad things happen. Like pollution, right? That is us transgressing against the earth that God gave us. Oil. I'm real funny about oil now. Because it looks like black goo and they get it from in the earth, right? And then you have black ink and you have octopus ink and the UFOs that are hidden in the seas. And I believe there's some in the sand too, but I don't want to get into that today. Like Dune, right? Okay, so when you feel that way, it's because they are attacking your mind. Do not look into the eye of a vampire is a core mission value. Now, my dad always said, make eye contact with people. Right? That way they know you're trustworthy, they know your mettle, they know you have honor. But that got me in trouble with this being that introduced himself as a fallen angel. He told me he was a fallen angel when nobody else was around. Tattoo man that came from LA and pretty much helped decimate my whole life. Diablo. I let one into my house at the encouragement of my spouse. I think the reason I had to let it in was because I am human, right? And if I did the act of letting this thing into our life or into the house, then I was consenting. Do you see what I mean? I'm telling you this story because I already made these mistakes. And it wrecked my life. In a way, I'm glad it happened because I wouldn't have known any of these things. And I probably would be dead right now. And I wouldn't be able to share this with people. And that's the only reason I'm not super angry. Like, I do feel like more people are seeing me than I'm aware of and that are supposed to. But they don't understand that either. That's part of God's plan. There's a reason that that's happening to some of us. It's God's plan to allow you to do this. I gave over my will to God when this stuff started happening, and I promised that I would speak on it. But I didn't promise because I really don't make vows anymore, like I said. But I told him I would do it, There's a reason that they treat us the way they do. Because we're speaking out, because we see it. And unfortunately, it's a lot of women at this point. Because women are more spirit. I know what the book says. I know the book says that Eve is the one who did this, that, and the other. I get it. But at this point, most of our men are in error. with polygamy, with fornication, with coming into agreement with wicked spirits. They know what they're doing. They know what they signed up for. In Christ's time, he said they know not what they do. These ones know. They know what they're doing. Nephilim energy that possesses you by illusion will have been transmuted from your body, mind, brain, earth suit, from your body, and your soul returned home and reunited with the whole pure source again. Now, again, this is New Agey. I don't think God would have us evolve into this form to then put us all back into like some amalgamation. That is what the black goo is, right? Like they're a hive mind. We have the Holy Spirit. But I believe we were given bodies and mouths and all these things for a reason. We are the hands and mouth and feet of God. And this is our home. We were given Eden, and it's our home. Now, is Eden higher than this plane? Possibly. Because the giants cut down all the trees, too. What is that mound that's in Close Encounters? Somebody write the name of that. I want to show you something on a picture of that. If you, I can't remember the name. Because I'm not well-traveled. Nephilim, spawn of demon bastards. Honesty is a synonym and you have done. Liar, liar, pants of fire. Yeah, see, now this is a Nephilim fighting and arguing with God. Nephilim leaders of those countries. Now, caldera is key. These beings, these vampire ones, they live in calderas. They're in the caldera in America, according to this story. I have a suspicion that volcanoes are somehow an illusion. I know people are going to disagree with this, and you're going to come at me for this. But I have very good reason to believe that volcanoes are some type of illusion or some type of manufactured thing by the Nephilim. Okay? It's very possible that the giant ones are still living in the earth. And that's that volcanoes are basically an exhaust. Okay? Very possible. Nothing is what it seems. All right? Nephilim overlords of the earth. Okay? That's what they call them. Nephilim energy, by their works shall you know them, saith the Master. Jesus is who they're talking about. Now, Ego and I will roll back outside the caldera. Okay? The caldera bowl. Okay? This is where they live, in the calderas. And I got a map. I finally ordered it and I got it, and I'll show you guys. I'm going to use my handy cam again and play with some settings. Nephilim energy imploding inside you. Interesting thought. Being keeper. All right, and some of these people are called keepers. Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're called keepers in this story. Like helping the Nephilim exit from existence in all worlds where man walks covered only with thin skin for predator protection. Okay, no more of the story. Okay, Nephilim energy. The question is, did we come to life with the disability? Did we choose it, or did we just capitulate to the victim consciousness out of social and familial habit? Does that reason change anything? Nephilim energy and give them equal stride with man who has not fallen. That's an oxymoron, actually, since the spirit that inspires man is always a unique expression of the divine. Not fallen may be the very definition of oxymoron. I believe we physically fell, and I believe that if you look into the stories of the giants, which I have so many books here. I have the Book of Enoch. I have the Essay and Gospel of Peace. I have those stories of Adam and Eve, the actual physical copies. So if you guys actually want to dig into this, just let me know. I just need to know what information you are wanting at this time. Because again, I believe time is short. I think something bigger is coming with this eclipse. I know how that sounds. I know it sounds woo-woo, whatever. But when have things been normal, guys? When's the last time things were kind of... Do you remember anymore? Because I don't. I don't. Nephilim energy and converts it into divine grace and love, the hallmark of the oneness consciousness of the divine one, the one who you will celebrate and honor you, even I do, my dear. They're talking about Holy Spirit there. Okay, and you know them by their fruits, guys. Nephilim spawn would be simple enough to assume that a thinking man would not see the unceasing evil of their ways and know them for who they are by what they do, and their belligerent bullying ways are time-tested. They do the same thing over and over and over again. The targeting program, it is them. It is them targeting the 12 tribes. That's what they're doing. Even the Slender Man demon in those stories that I watched, that young man was targeted. And the goal is to get us with a demon. They want us to be the temple for the demon. And, you know, our bodies are known as the temple of God. When Jesus said, I will rebuild the temple in 3 days, he's talking about the body. Everybody's watching for a physical temple to be built. Jesus he was speaking in spiritual tones. Nephilim illusion, delusion, okay? My master gift is helping you release the demon dreads you have buried all of your life in the deep, dirty, your subconscious mind. Oh my gosh. Nephilim energies, own and allow all your anxious evidence that indeed you are inadequate. Own and allow all the ways you judge others better than you as proof to yourself that you're not good enough. Yeah, because they're trying to decide if the Nephilim can be redeemed, if they can have salvation. In these books, it looks like, okay? So real quick, is this a second book? Let's look at, no, let's look at, I just want to show you guys. Caldera is an amazing and beautiful space, and it has been kept so by the people who come here to work and maintain the Caldera lands, and the castle, and the keep. Without maintenance, the Caldera goes wild. Caldera, we follow the switchback leading into the Caldera. Notice the crows. Okay, this is them on a journey. They're actually going to the Caldera. Caldera workers. Now, they actually have human beings. Again, they have a lot of people who are in cahoots with them. And they keep them safe while they sleep during the day and all this stuff, right? Because some of the Nephilim are vamps. They feed on blood and energy of human beings. Okay? Caldera Vampsporen are the influence makers of vampdom. Vamps globally will follow their call to converge on the new world, isolated and an ocean removed from the fleeter bleeder legends of the old world. So that's America again they're talking about. The Caldera is perfect for a ski resort and hunting lodge, a highland resort. Blah, blah, blah. Caldera masters, okay? And again, it's showing you they have basically men working with them, men and women, to keep them safe during the day. And they maintain the Caldera. Okay, he's not an Interpol employee, and that is as it should be, because the Interpol mission will be complete and ended on the day the Caldera vamps are killed, caged, and prepared for my personal transport. And again, this is some part in here is where I read about the lavender and the vinegar. And so basically they're living in a caldera. That's where they hang out. That's where they sleep. And they are having people to keep them safe. Now this is interesting. The caldera vamps traded the currency and gold they collected over centuries in exchange for a plentiful supply of daily fresh spilt blood. Funny, huh? Underground calderas would act, they would be underground. They would have a cave system underneath of them. Missing people. Why do they do blood drives? Why do they need blood donations so often? Why do you think Mormons, LDS members don't do that? Because they know better. Why do you think they don't drink coffee? Because they know better. But I also think, again, they had polygamy in there, and that's a clear sign of who started that religion. So we need to be very careful, and we need to try and wake up our fellow men and women and say, in a way that's appropriate for them to understand that we're not alone here, and we have enemies working against us, and we need to be vigilant. So yeah, I wanted to show you that that's where they're at. Caldera master attractor bats and all the other globally interconnected bat hives dislocated to the new world. I heard about your brother in America and his young son, and it occurs to me that have some solution ideas. So you see, more talk about the bats. Again, how did CV start? Where's all this Batman lingo coming from? Matt from Friends, his last tweet said, I am Matman. Do you hear me? I said, I am Batman. Batman. Matt Bat. I don't know. Go look at it. One of those things. Now, here's where they're trying to decide how they're going to actually kill them, because they're not killable beings. So what they're going to do is alchemy, and they're going to try and reduce it to the lowest state possible. And to me, yeah, that's black goo, man. And we use it in our cars, right? There's a reason I don't drive. It's just, I listen to that intuition that's inside me, that when it tells me not to do something, I don't do it. There's a few times I didn't listen, and that's when I got into real trouble. And you guys know the story by now. You should. All right, so you see basically they're living in a caldera. Okay, so we get that. Now let's go to the next book. I was looking up in this one, I think this is probably Angel Tales. So it's the one where I was seeking out the deterrent for these beings. Because everybody has a kryptonite. Everybody. You call it an allergy. It's a kryptonite for you. So I looked up silver. Silver bullet, back since you obviously have no appreciation for the finer things in life. Silver studded, blah, blah, blah. Sky along all the front. This is pretty, I think. Silver went and placed them in the sky along with all the firmament of stars. And then God divided light from darkness. He did that so he had a place to put the sun and its bright light, and a space to put the moon and its silver light. Okay, now when they're talking about Michael the Archangel. 22 caliber. There's that 22 again. Silver, the plotters added to the pouch of contributions. Judas carried to feed the followers. Listen to Judas tell truth in parable form. Judas also knew without doubt the truth Jesus spoke, that death was not an ending, but a beginning. Death is not an ending. That's why Christ, why do you think he wanted and almost tried to be publicly executed? Why do you think he let Judas kiss him when he knew full well what was going to happen? Because it had to happen. See? And it had to happen in a very public way so that people could see him die. And then when he resurrected, they could understand that death is not a permanent state. Now, where do we go when we die? I think that has a lot to do with consent too. And there's a reason I do not believe any part of the reincarnation story. I'm not giving that any advantage over me. None. I do not want to be reset on the earth, put somewhere else, not knowing any of the things I know now. I don't want to start over like that. And it's a false system. It's counterfeit of God's system that he created for us to be a part of. He doesn't want us to die. All throughout the book of Adam and Eve, he raises them up. She kills herself the one time. She's so distraught over what has happened. She tosses herself to the rocks. And God picks her up and says, please don't do that again to yourself. Why do you think there's so much illusion involved in funerals? Let me ask you that. Why do you think there's so much illusion? All the pomp and circumstance. You gotta have a big coffin, right? You gotta have the big procession of people coming in, right? It's gotta be expensive. When a magician does his trick on stage, he's wanting you to look at something, right? So that you're not seeing what's actually taking place. We're not supposed to be put in the ground. We're not supposed to be put 6 feet under. That should show you, that number right there should show you whose idea all that was. Now, God can still correct that. I believe it's God, right? The maker. But I think by consenting to certain things, we are lessening our chances at proper salvation and being restored to our proper form, and tending and living in the garden and playing and running and, whatever it is we're going to do. Tending to the plants, keeping them tame, tending to the animals, not eating them. Everything will be restored. But if we keep passively giving our consent to these things, we'll never be refined enough to pass through the gate. I hope that makes sense. And then it gets into gemstones, which is really interesting, and I might do that in its own video, because again, I don't believe they're evil, and I don't believe they're witchcraft. They are all over the Old Testament, and we are being deceived and lied to by teachers because nobody reads for themselves. When I started reading it, I get really ticked off, to be honest with you, that I was sitting in church and they weren't telling me some of these things. And some of them they purposely were twisting. So again, they're talking, more talk about the bat. Okay, and that's a lot about Michael and the silver. So let's see how many Nephilim verse or pages are in this one. No results. Okay, Nephilim are not talked about in this book, which is interesting. But the vampires are. Oh no, stop it. I'm sorry. Okay, so for whatever reason, Michael thinks he's been demoted because he was asked to watch Earth. Okay, fallen angels. So these falling ones can willingly do the will of God who sent them? I'm guessing the spanking them on the courthouse lawn isn't the idea you're looking for. So again, God uses everything to good, right? So even them, even the fallen ones will be used, whatever they do, will be transmuted, alchemized by the Most High into something good. Fallen angels are spitting and scratching and snarling like wrathful cats on a warpath. The angels brought angry energy in with them. They admitted it into the angel garden. They brought it with them. Now, it is my opinion when Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? And she ate of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and she was not supposed to do that because the tree was not yet blessed. At least that's what it says in that book. It says a lot more. But it says that wasn't blessed yet. They weren't supposed to eat from that yet. I think all these things were supposed to happen, just not maybe the way they did, right? But God improvises because he's God. But he also loves us, so he can't take away our free will. He can't take away our agency of choice. Otherwise, we're not souled beings then. If you take away your free will, that kind of negates the soul, right? So it's my opinion that when we did that, when we fell from the Garden of Eden, Satan then became our God. And I believe it's all over the Old Testament that there's a struggle between the two, that sometimes they're not actually talking to God, the Most High. They're talking to the other one. And they don't know it because they're in a fallen state, right? And we've lost that immediate connection to God that we used to have because we were literally, physically closer to God. And now that telephone line has gotten longer and longer and it's being stretched out. Each generation gets further and further away from God, physically and metaphorically, spiritually speaking. God, I hope that makes sense. And I know I talk strange for most people today. I'm really trying to avoid pop culture types behaviors, and in my speech I'm trying to be a better example to people, and especially the young ones, because they've been taken in by all of this. And I should have been more vigilant as a parent. And I tried to be, but I ended up being a pushover because I thought people cared and I thought they knew better than I knew. And it damaged my family. My family may have never been real, but I still have children that I love very, very much. And I would like them to know that even if we're of God by proxy, God loves us. And you can make him, you're the head of your life instead of the other one. I love these. They're my family, guys. I don't know what to do anymore about all this because I can't consent to be harmed anymore now that I know what's happening, right? But does a woman go off and leave her family alone and live on the streets, basically become Jesus like Jesus did? I don't know what the right thing is. So this is why I lean on God and I wait for God to tell me what to do these days. So this tells you fallen angels who are presently AWOL, they're AWOL, within the angel garden represents man's first awakening before man realizes his Christ wisdom and power. The morning star heralds the coming of light and the glory of the sun. Now, in the Bible, Jesus and Lucifer are both referred to as the morning star, and people often get confused about this. I have my own theories on that. They're both, I think Christ, obviously he's somewhat angelic. But for whatever reason, he's above them in the hierarchy, and we are too now because we carry his name. You see, hierarchy is very important. Order is very important to God. Is an orderly God. Now, things might look like chaos to us because we're outside them, or actually we're within them. We can't see that chaos is creating something beautiful because we're in it, right? Kind of like if you look at the Milky Way. If we were inside all that, it would just look like a big blinking mess. But being outside of it, we see the beautiful spiral, which is also a representation of time and the universe, and we see how everything is connected. Okay? I believe that in the Milky Way, well, actually, we're supposed to be in the Milky Way, but if you look up certain parts of the sky and whatnot, I believe the first war in heaven, when the war in heaven started and the flood started, I think God cracked the firmament, and that's how water poured in, because there's water out there. And if you don't believe me, go watch The Simpsons. They showed it years ago. And everything they show seems to be happening. So they're either prophets or they know something, a lot of things we don't. So I'm going through this slow so you can read what you want to read if you choose to. I think I pretty much covered the things that I wanted you guys to see, that the information is out there, that people are trying to help us. And other beings are here to help us. But we have to stop giving away our consent, our passive consent, our sovereignty. You are a sovereign being. And if you've never seen the videos I do on that, let me tell you right now, the first thing you need to do in this system is to verbally and aloud declare your sovereignty. I am taking my sovereignty back. I am a free-willed being. Then you give it to God, right? You say, I would like my will to be under God's, because God wants what's best for you. And that's how you'll receive blessings as well. But verbally say it so that you are not in league with these things. And even if you are in league unknowingly, at least you told God, okay, I don't consent to whatever they're doing. So if somehow this touches me, just so you know, Lord, I got no part in it. That's important. You don't understand how important that is to your state of being now and your future state as far as transmutation and resurrection and all that stuff goes. And I refuse to be, do not bury me. If I die, again, do not bury me. It is said that the two witnesses, when they die, people will throw a party and their bodies will just be left before they're resurrected. And I'm like, that's totally going to be me. Except, no, it's totally probably going to be me. Because I've always said that. When I die, people are just going to throw a party. By the way I've been treated my whole life, I think the world will celebrate. And then I read it in the Bible and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then the Men in Black, I don't know if you guys ever saw the second part of that, where the girl is like on Earth, but she ends up being special or something. But every time she cries, it rains. And that kind of, like, I told you how that happens to me. It's just weird. It's just weird how these things are at play. And I think some of them are the signs and wonders of the Antichrist. He won't just be lawless in man's system. He will be lawless as far as what we used to know to be laws of physics. Okay? Let me see if there's any other little parts that I wanted you guys to see. ELBE, again, so that's the name of this person who wrote this book. Now, that's a pseudonym that I showed you in the video that I uploaded late last night because it took forever. The little book that I got that's from like the early 1900s that's called Gold Dust. So there are angelic beings here that are trying to help us. Okay, and they're sent to help us, but they're not supposed to interfere, because you know what happened the first time that happened. But it's getting to the point where I believe God is going to set them free, because the wicked ones are going to be at large soon. Things have happened in my life before they hit the world stage. That's why I had a clue as to what was coming. And I've told you all this. But I think with this eclipse, things will start to be very overt instead of covert. So please be careful. Pray every day. Whatever it is you do. But don't empty your mind and give anything else permission to enter it, please. But pray over your children. Speak good words of blessings over your children, your family, your property, your financial status, whatever. Everything. Okay? And if we can agree on praying on the same things, then we shall be given them. Angels that fell to the earth to come and protect the angel garden. And you're here now. Fallen land and know the ways and whys it came to be laid bare and then exposed. Before black sky swirling swarms. Ooh, that's creepy. Fallen ones like a divine mother, coolly cooing, curring. Hallelujah. Amen. Okay, so that one is the angel dust one, which is mostly... Now this is cool. I thought this was interesting. This is the next to last book. Is this the Knight's Tales, maybe? It might be Knight's Tales, which again is about the angels, I think. Fallen angels rise up in a narrowing spiral until they join hands, heads, and hearts on their one mission in two angelic forms. They laugh gleeful joy, so their rise is as fast and smooth as the dragon's was. So it's telling you about them and about the war in heaven. Archangels had to straighten up and fly right, and I did what any good mother would do in that situation. I shamed the angels. How far you have fallen from grace to even imagine that the Divine One would give you a demotion. So now they're talking about his self-centeredness and all that. And it's telling you again about the gemstones, which I think is key. So we'll look at that in a separate video. But I'll just have stuff written down and I'll have different things pulled up. Now, I don't know who they're talking about, but there's some girl in this story of some importance. Again, I've not read the whole thing. I'm just looking for bits of information at this point. I'm cross-referencing a whole lot of books. So she has not a clue what to do with those two clues, iron and electric batteries. She plods on to the next puzzle pieces, electric of, worked by, or charged with electricity, producing, or capable of generating. You're forgetting the angel element there. Electric. It's angelic somehow. Iron on rails foretells a coming train, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so now let's see here. And again, like I said, these are written very different. That's why you see some things are repeated because of the Fibonacci scale that she's using. Okay, now it's saying where she shamed the angels. That's the Divine One, God, or whoever. Angels to come to me now, pointing the angry. Why, my mother? I'm not taking sass from a couple of fallen angels who aren't doing the jobs of Divine One. Right. And these ones aren't in here a lot again. And I don't know why. The last one's always in white. Angels to you, dear one. You are in far over your head. You are currently incapable of treading the metaphysical. Wow, I've been studying that stuff too. The others, the D.O., Divine One, breathes the word into the mind of the woman. Who are the others that you sniff out? My God. Having deja vu. Ken, please stop. Every story. Every stinking one. Okay, so they're not in this one. Which is ironic. Is this the Knight's Tale? Oops, sorry. Knights, join us, please. 24 knights enter with baskets and burlap bags, and as they place the items, the knights names what's in the bag or basket. Where did this come from? Oh my God, knight's oath. So there's some oath that the knights take. I want to peel an ear of that corn and eat it. You're not alone, so how are, like knights too. The other knights confessed that they were masters at cleaning kitchens and washing. Yeah, so this must be the Knight's Tale. And I think knights are like archangels, I think. Don't quote me on that. Let's just look at angels. Oh no, let's look at oath. I want to see if it'll bring that oath up that we just saw. Why won't you show me the actual part? Oh, all the knights zip their lips and raise their hands in oath binding. The daughters do the same. Okay, so here's the thing. When the angels fell to Mount Hermon, they all made an oath. Let us do this thing together so that we will all take the punishment as one, or we will all serve the same sentence. And so they did this. They bound themselves to each other with a curse and an oath wrapped in a curse, basically. This is why when you talk to, they won't tell you anything. They can't. They legitimately, their tongues are tied because of this oath they took. They are bound by it, literally. So everything they say to you is going to be a lie, pretty much, to hide that oath, okay? Who else takes oath? Well, the Freemasons. This is why I thought Freemasonry and Mormonism, because they have their little secret rituals they do too. There's a reason that I thought perhaps that it's of the enemies, right? But again, it seems like all these groups and stuff are mixed up at this time. So you have to use your discernment. You have to stay vigilant. You have to stay sober. Trust me, I know these things, or I wouldn't be sharing them with you and telling you like embarrassing, shameful details about my own past. It's not for my benefit for sure. It's a penance of a sort, but it is to help you guys. Okay, I'm going to end this and wrap it up now. I have stuff I want to do. I'm going to do a handy cam video because I just think it's neat, and I'm going to start using that more, especially for like personal documentation and nature stuff. But it's raining today, so I'm going to have to do a few different things. And the camera's almost paid off, thank God, so now I can actually not worry about like when I take it out and stuff. You know, I just like to be careful. Anyways, I love you guys. More soon. Let me know what you want to look into, what would be helpful to you. We can look at consent a little more. But I would like to look at the eclipse thing a little more, and eclipses through history, just to see, you know, what's odd about this one and whatnot. So, thank you for the stream. Oh, geez, don't thank me. Truly, like it's nothing, really. Oh, I didn't even see you. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't say hi, guys. Thanks for being here. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you understand what I'm trying to do here. I know it's different than other people. I know it's not as polished. I know, I get it. I'm not a professional. I'm not paid to do this. That's a good thing. I'm not paid to say certain things. I'm not paid to keep my mouth shut. So, that, you know, that's really a good thing. When you look for truth, that's what you should look for, is people who aren't on TV, people who aren't celebrities. We should not be idolizing these things. They are the fallen ones. That's why they like all the attention. They consider themselves gods of this place. It's not their home. They gave up their home. This is our home. But it's not going to be if we don't learn how to wield the sword of our free will, which is our tongue. Your sword is the words that you bring forth from your heart. So careful which words you use today. I love you guys.